Some say you should assume attraction. Others say you should calibrate escalation based on IOIs. What is right? Kind of similar to what you said before.
I mean, err on the side of attraction. Again, ask for the sale. I think we kind of hit this a lot. Like everybody on the panel seemed to say, like, yeah, we need to escalate the interaction. It's just that the IOIs are a nice little hint. They're like a red arrow that says, oh, it's time to escalate. It's like, I don't know if you've ever played those games. There's like a sliding needle that moves back and forth, and there's like the one little green window. The IOI is like, ooh, this is the green window. This is the perfect time to do it. But if you hit it in the orange window on either side, you're fucking fine. If you wait too long, you miss. If you do it too early, you miss. But like, they're just kind of a good indicator that this is a decent time, but it's not really anything else. It's not necessary for you to try to escalate.
And when
I would say we discussed this before, really, so we could kind of.
I mean, can I add something to this, guys? I think because sometimes I hear assume attraction, and I think people just lie to themselves or attempt to lie to themselves, and it doesn't really work. Like, I think a healthier approach is to assume future attraction. I think some guys go into set and they try to convince themselves, like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, every girl in this fucking club likes me. And then the other side of their brain is like, no, you're not, you're a fucking loser. And I think like that gets a little bit more intense and they feel worse about themselves. But also then their actions, if they're acting like they're the best person in the club, they don't realize that they do need to build compliance. And so they walk into that set and they're like, well, tell me, why should I talk to you? And the girl's like, well, you came over here, I don't want to talk to you. They're like, fucking bitch. And then they walk off. And it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. If you have that level of, even if it's fake narcissism, it's not attractive. What's attractive is a grounded level of confidence. So walking to the set and knowing, sure, the girl might not be like playing with her hair and like, you know, getting on her knees for me just yet, but I know that if I do the right things here, if I, you know, lead and do the things we were talking about before, have a level of like sexual authority, if I come off as charismatic and confident, then I know I can start to build attraction. So when you go into that set and the girl's like, girls' night, I'm not thinking she loves me anyway. I'm thinking, just wait, okay? Just wait. I'm going to be able to build this up. So with confidence, I turn to a friend and I'm like, oh, you seem really friendly. And then I'm able to get myself into this set. So I think it's like a small distinction there, but the one that's like really important is don't just try to lie to yourself and say I'm the most attractive guy in the room if you're not. But you should have the confidence to know that you're able to build attraction and you have the tools to do so.
That's a really good
when I think about assume attraction, I think, you know, it's just leading, because if you're waiting for her to show signs that she's attracted, you're just waiting for her to show IOI. So by leading, you're in a way assuming attraction, but not in the super conscious level, because it's more concerned with, does she actually follow me? But you're assuming that she might actually take you up on this in the first place.
Yeah, I agree, but also there was a lot in what Marcus said there. And the biggest thing is having that self-belief. Like if you don't truly believe it, then you're going to try to cover that up and it's going to come off as incongruent and you're going to end up coming off as the cocky douchebag guy, the guy that goes up to the girl and says, give me 3 reasons why you should give me your number. And then, yeah, it's like, okay, you're just coming off as you're holding something back. Like you don't actually believe it yourself. But if you have that self-belief that, yeah, I know I'm the fucking man, but at the same time, you also are just open to getting to know the person, want to see who that person is, and you don't have that cockiness to you, then yeah.
I think if you assume, again, this is it's a really good point that Marcus brought up. I think if you just assume, not that all girls will be attracted to me the second they see me, but you assume that given enough time, it's like, I forget what the quote is, you know, you give me a lever long enough and I'll move the world. It's like, you give me enough time with any girl in the world and she'll be attracted. That should be kind of your mental model, is they all will eventually. So anything I can do that buys me a little more time here in a congruent way, that's good. You're just going to increase that attraction. That should be the mental model more so than just like, oh, I'm the hottest shit in the world.
Interesting way to think about that is like when you see so many movies over time, I can't think of particular examples, but I used to kind of like roll my eyes when like the main character would just end up having sex with a woman. But if you think about it, if they're spending enough time together because of the movie plot line, of course they're spending time together. They're in a situation or whatever. I have no examples in mind right now. But you know, it's in that way, it's kind of like more likely because you simply rubbed off on each other over time.
You know what's interesting is I've talked to 2 guys recently in the sauna, and both of them have been married. One guy was married for 15 years, another guy was married for 20 years, and it was a similar story where they would go into some place, a restaurant and a coffee shop, right? It was the barista and then the girl, like the hostess of the restaurant. And so the guy would keep coming in. It was his regular spot. He'd keep hitting on the girl. She'd keep turning him down, but persistence. And then finally she agreed to go on a date with him, and the rest was history. Now, I don't recommend this, but there's something to be said there with, okay, you spend enough time with somebody, then, okay, their initial response might be, I'm not into it. But at the same time, yeah, then that persistence can, I don't want to say win over, but can help allow that person make a better impression.
Well, that's kind of like how all like a lot of normies date, is that time exposure effect, whether that's your social circle, community, hobbies, church. You just expose to someone long enough, eventually they quote grow on you, right? I think part of what we do is we try to condense that down into, you know, that 4 to 10 hour window, as opposed to years of trying to get to know somebody.
So that rule,
I cannot remember the study, but there was one that basically women rate men as more attractive in a familiar environment as opposed to an unfamiliar environment. So there's definitely some evolutionary backing to that. Yeah, just the one pitfall is obviously there's such thing as opportunity cost. And so you don't want to be the guy who's just pining after the one girl for years, which I don't know about you guys, but fucking learn that one the hard way.
The only thing I'd add to that, you guys brought up such great points on all this, and I agree with all you're saying. The only thing I'd add is don't assume that you don't have attraction, right? Because I'm thinking of who's asking this question. So a big mistake guys will make is they think that, oh, I can't make that move yet, so I need to be funnier, or I need to demonstrate more value. I need to build more attraction before I actually make a move. So I would just say, like, don't assume that you do, like Ice was saying, you have to make a move and go for it to kind of see where you're at. And then you have to calibrate, right? If she doesn't comply, you take a step back. Maybe you do a takeaway, maybe you build some attraction, you try again, right? So yes, there's some calibration going on with that. But if you assume you don't have attraction, you could spend too long and not make a move forward, and you'll actually lose the interaction from not actually making a move. So you have to be careful of that as well.
I don't want to go too deep on this, but I'm slightly going to take this off the rails. Just follow me here, as I always fucking do.
He's asking for complaints, guys.
When JT was kind of saying exposure, and we're talking about time exposure to each other, things like that. I started calling it somewhat half serious way. You're in the position to fuck because you're hanging out with each other. Like, even if you're friends, if you think about this from an indirect game or social circle game mindset, even if you're just friends is just a label. Like, I'm not talking Facebook friends or shit like that. But by hanging out with a woman for however long, however many times, even if you're known her for a few weeks or whatever, you hang out for a few hours here and there so far, by hanging out, you're in the position to fuck. So the important aspect is that you're actually meeting, because then effectively you're in a position to fuck. This is what I call the friend frame. It's not to be confused with friend zone, because friend zone is like you placed an intention on her, you try to make a move, she rejected you. You put yourself in the position of rejection by going that route, and that's why you get friend zone. But if you come from the mindset of let me hang out with lots of women, you are merely putting yourself in the position to fuck in a way, because the label doesn't care about physics. The physics is your dick is here, her pussy is here. That can happen regardless of what the labels are.
That's my favorite red pill fallacy, because they simultaneously hold these two beliefs. One is that you should not have female friends because that makes you a pussy and a bitch and you're never going to hook up with them. And the other is that your girl should not have male friends because she's going to fuck her male friends. Those two things can't be true.
Sure.
Great observation. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's funny.